Black community, we have a real problem on our hands right now. And it's probably going to get a little uncomfortable on this podcast because there are some things that we got to talk about and address in regards to violence happening in our community. And so I'm just going to jump right into this thing because, I've thought long and hard about doing this podcast and what I'm going to say about it. But really and truly, I really don't know. Like, I want to come at this from a few different angles, and this is not really a subject that you can speak about for 5 minutes or 10 minutes or anything. This is a long, deep conversations, many conversations that need to be had about this. And so I'm just touching on it a little bit to get some feedback and to see what we can come up with to try to combat the violence that we're seeing in the streets, to me, for no reason, at least in my opinion, for no reason, because what a lot of these young black people are dying over, and what these young people in general are dying over, I'm sure the large majority of it, in my opinion, and probably the opinions of most people, is over nothing. It's over nothing. And so we got an issue here, and we're going to talk about it now. I was online the other day on Instagram, and I came across one Brandon Gonez. Now, he does a fantastic job, by the way. I'm gonna drop a bomb for Brandon Gonez because he's really out here doing his thing. And I saw a clip. I'm gonna play it for you. But you guys have probably already heard of these two specific stories that he's gonna mention in this clip that I'm gonna put up for you, and then we'll discuss when it's over with.
People across the city are in mourning and in shock after two young boys recently lost their lives in two separate incidents. Recently, a 14-year-old boy who was stabbed to death, and just a few weeks ago, another young boy who was shot and killed. Here's everything we know. The first is 15-year-old Jakai Jack. He was tragically shot in the city's West End in early June and died after witnesses say they were on hold with emergency services for several minutes. And police say the shooting was unprovoked.
He was not involved in any gangs or any kind of criminality. This was a completely unprovoked act of violence against a 15-year-old boy.
Now, the second and most recent death is 14-year-old Abdul Aziz Sar, who on July 5th died after being stabbed near Toronto's Woodbine Park. Already, the community is speaking out, including the local mosque Abdul attended. They posted a statement saying he was a young soul full of dreams, light, and laughter taken far too soon. He was more than just a student. He was a beacon of joy in our community. Also, a GoFundMe was launched for Abdul that has now raised more than $24,000. So BG Squad, I know this is a tough one, but I gotta ask, how do we come together as a city to better protect our youth? And what more do you think can be done? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, but also make sure to leave some love and support for the families who are grieving right now.
That I played that clip for you. This isn't something that's new, right? Like, this has been going on for generation after generation after generation. I mean, for me as a kid, I saw this all the time, starting to see it more frequently now, especially because how much we see it in the news and how much we see it all over social media and stuff like that. But I always have to ask myself when I'm doing this, right? What are these kids dying over? That's what confuses me the most. What are these kids dying over? Like, I really don't truly get it. And I don't know if we're ever going to get the full story of this, but there are a bunch of witnesses. People know what's really going on. How long do we let this continue without trying to change something in regards to our own culture? How long do you let it continue for? And what exactly are you supposed to do? That's the ultimate question. And so when I see and hear that things like these are happening, especially in regards to our young black men, because that's who it seems to be affecting the most, I often have to ask myself, the kids who are committing these murders, committing these crimes, Why is it that they don't think about how it affects another family, how it affects parents and friends and grandparents and just all the people who know the victims in this case, right? Now I get it. They're young. They're young. And I know for one of these stories, one of them has turned himself in. They caught another one. It's just they're young. They don't think clearly. They don't look at our own people and maybe anybody for that matter as one of their own, as a brother, as a friend, as a cousin. It's like life isn't valuable to a lot of these kids. And I'm trying to figure out why that is. Like if 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 a life doesn't matter to you and you're willing to take a life that easily, it raises the question, how do you think about yourself? How do you look at yourself? Do you look at yourself as human? Do you look at yourself as a son or as a daughter, as a friend, as a grandchild? Like a part of you, a part of the humanity there has to be gone somehow. Because to me, this behavior, we have to understand something here. A lot of the time, when you grow up in the hood and you grow up in some really rough neighborhoods, people have to understand a lot of the activity that they see and the way that they see people behave, in my opinion, from a guy who's been in some rough neighborhoods and out of rough neighborhoods, that activity and that behavior to me is not normal. And it's becoming normalized. It's about survival all the time. Where you damn near got to be a savage because of where you're growing up and what you're up against. You got to be tough. You can't have emotion. You always got to know how to fight. You're used to being unsupervised a lot of the time because your parents got to make ends meet. There's all different types of situations in the way that you live. And it's like you don't think social media is another thing. Now people are clout chasing, you lack empathy. There's a whole bunch of problems here. There's a whole bunch of problems here. And it's like you really got to start to break this thing down and say, okay, where do I begin here? And for me, there's a few different places. And I don't want to make this a long podcast either, because you'll probably agree with some things, you won't agree with some things. But the point is, I'm trying to start a conversation here because you can't fix something that you're not willing to speak about. Okay. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the nuclear family, I have mentioned this before: men, women, together in a household raising children. That matters. That matters, ladies and gentlemen. And yes, of course, you're going to have single parents, single moms, single dads. You're going to have both. And that doesn't mean that you can't raise a child and raise the child well. You can. You can. But your chances increase when you have both parents in the household. It's just the truth. And from a kid who grew up as one of these crazy YNs as a kid, living with a single mother who would go to work at 7 o'clock in the morning and not return until 10, 11 o'clock at night, 7 days a week. Trust me, you're going to get into some trouble sometimes, especially growing up in a rough neighborhood when you're not being supervised. But at the same time, what option do you have when you have a single parent and that single parent got to pay the bills? You got to pay everything. You got to pay for the house. You got to pay for the car. You got to pay with all the bills that come with the house. You got to pay for all the bills that come with the car. You got to pay for the kids. You got to pay for everything. And so you got to work your ass off. You got to spend time at work. too often. That's just a part of it. And so when you get the chance to build together as a mother and a father in the same household, you're already starting off your kid, your child. You're already starting them off with an advantage. And you, as two parents, you got to grow together. You got to learn together. You got to communicate. You got to be honest. You got to learn to give each other grace. All of those things are things that you got to teach to these kids growing up. And apparently, from what I'm seeing, not enough of these kids have it. They lack it right now. They lack it right now. And us as men, we got to do something. We can't just stay silent about this. We can't stay silent. Maybe we're having some discussions, some small ones, but overall, these are bigger discussions that we need to have. And I don't care who you have them with. You can have them with your brother, your uncle, your dad, your friends, your pastors, your people at work, coworkers. But something needs to be done within our community to, I'm not saying to necessarily fix this, because this ain't something that you're going to be able to fix overnight. But we got to start having conversations, ladies and gentlemen, because we got a serious problem. And it ain't going to stop anytime soon if we are doing absolutely nothing about it. Men, we got to eat healthy. We got to work out. We got to go to the doctor. We got to make sure we're in good healthy, taking care of ourselves. We got to have good work ethic. We got to have all these things. And we got to teach these young men these things. Now, to me, one of the biggest things is communication. I think one of the biggest things that we have is a communication problem. It's a communication problem, man, because how little things can turn into big things very fast, with people losing their lives, being shot and killed over absolutely nothing, is beyond me. It's beyond me. And listen, being disciplined, masculinity, maturity, when you're a young man, all of that stuff matters. And we got to make sure that even if it's not our son, if we have nephews, if we have cousins, you got kids on the block, you got neighbors who are young boys growing up, we got to take just a little bit of time to talk to these kids every once in a while, even if you don't want to. You never know what talking to a kid, even a little bit, every day can do to their psyche, can do to their mindset. You have to take that into consideration. It's not just the big things, it's the small things too. And I mentioned social media before. We got to pay very, very close attention to what our kids are doing, watching, and consuming online. We got to monitor YouTube shows, music, friends, everything that they're doing online. Online's a different ballgame. It ain't like when we were growing up and had the Instagram and the TikTok and the YouTube and the Reels and all this kind of stuff. There's all kinds of outrageous things on there, and we don't know what it's doing to their mind right now. This is like the first generation that has fully grown up on this. And so we don't know what it's doing to their mindset, but we have to watch it. We got to watch it. We got to monitor stuff, man. When I see my kids watching certain things, I don't give a damn what it is, YouTube, a cartoon. I'm always watching. There are times I'd be like, yo, what did that person just say? Or what is going on in the scene in this cartoon? Be like, yo, turn this off. Turn this garbage off. I don't want to see you watching this show anymore, whatever it may be. I don't want to see you watching this YouTube show or this and that and the other. I got to tell them, yo, you better turn that off. You got to watch everything these kids are doing because it all starts here. It begins in the mind. It begins in the mind. Your mind is like a computer. If you put the wrong things in there, it's like a virus. It'll destroy you internally. And then what happens internally will come out externally. We got to figure something out when it comes to these kids. And folks, if you see this or come across this, put something in the comments. Put something in the comments. And I'm not saying everything I'm going to say here is going to be right. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm just trying to have a conversation. So if there's something you want to say or something you want to add, and you can put it in the comments, please do, because then I can use that. I can use that for an upcoming show. But I do know one thing. Conversations need to be had because we got a whole bunch of kids who are running around out here like some fake tough guys and fake gangsters and think it's actually cool. And I get it because I was one of those kids. I grew up. I understand. I get it. I completely understand where some of these kids are coming from, but they're just willing to do things and cross lines that never even came into my brain, into my psyche. And just doing it flat up, straight up for nothing. Young kids dying over nothing. Over and over and over again. I mean, I'm not exactly sure what to do. And I'm sure it's going to take a long time to fix. But damn, I mean, we got to say something. The conversations need to be had. Do something. Do just a little bit. I don't care what it is, but try to do even a little bit, folks. And so that one was resting on me. I did want to touch on that because it's been something that's been on my mind. I've been wanting to talk about it from last week. And it's a little tricky. Like, I don't really know how to approach this situation in regards to the Black community and culture, but I figured at least the one thing I can do is speak about it and then see what type of feedback that I get. So I'm hoping I get some feedback in the comments. Share this with somebody. If you know somebody feels passionate about this subject and this specific topic, share it with someone and talk to them about the subject and leave the comments here, because I'm thinking about doing like a full town hall on this. A full town hall on this because it's unfortunate, it's sad. It's a pattern that is continuing, it's raging actually. And clearly nobody has a clear-cut solution for this. And so it's really, really tough on the community. And so I'm hoping to get some feedback and maybe get a town hall on this going, because I don't know, this is killing me inside. There is something that has to be done here, folks. You guys know I talk everything, but this was something that was weighing on me and I didn't want to speak about it. So I'll be back again soon. It's your boy, Mike Roach. You can find me on Spotify, Apple, and on Instagram, folks, at Mike Roach 7 on IG, at Mike Roach 23 on X, the one Mike Roach on TikTok, folks. So get at me. It's your boy, Mike Roach. I'll be back again soon. All right. Peace.